Hello, all you fucking scrubs.
Hello, everyone. I'm your host, Matt, aka Legion, and welcome to the next major installment in the month of classics. With me, I have my co-host Shane, aka the Bearded One. How you doing today, Shane?
I'm a bona fide classic. Wink. I can't actually wink on camera right now, so I just you get what I mean. Hi, happy to be here.
With me, I also have my co-host Josh. How you doing today, Josh?
This world is a play.
This world is worth living in because Lupin the Third.
Lupin the Third.
He's a dandy. Lupin. He's a nice man. No,
I love that song because it makes no sense, like, at all.
Dabba 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 dabba.
Nah, but I'm doing good.
As you can tell, we're covering Lupin the Third this episode, but we also got some other stuff to talk about. We got simulcasts to talk about. We have
Matt.
Yes.
Whose pick was Lupin the Third?
It was yours.
It was yours, Josh.
It was yours.
Almost like I always have the good picks.
If in retrospect it turns out to be the best show we cover this month, I'm never doubting Josh ever again.
It might actually be. Like, right now, I don't know what else can beat it. But in any case, we also got simulcasts to talk about. We have some simulposts to talk about. And we have a singular piece of news.
Whoa, that's a lot of news.
This is what happens when you have a show every week instead of every 2
weeks.
The news goes down. So, very much so. It is very much,
In the wise words of Professor Farnsworth, good news, everyone! There is no news.
Good news, everyone.
Remember when Futurama used to be on Netflix? Those were the days.
I miss Futurama.
Anyway, anime.
Yes.
Yeah. So anime. All right. So new season started up, as y'all know, and we have some shows to talk about. I don't know. Well, I don't know if Josh's show has started up yet.
No.
The only show he's watching this season.
So Josh literally has nothing to contribute.
It is on. It has been confirmed to be on Crunchyroll, which I'm happy about.
It doesn't start till it doesn't seem to start till the 10th. So
no.
So next Saturday. Oof.
Which I don't mind because I'm just rewatching the first and second season, anyways.
I can't believe there's all this quality shit coming out this season. Josh is like, I'm only gonna watch a singular show.
Well, Josh has been waiting for this show for a while. So
I have.
But in any case.
Piece of shit.
let's jump right into it, Shane, because I'm not gonna lie, this is a good season so far. Very strong season.
It's only been 2 days, and there's been quite a bit of quality shit that's already come out. So
there's already some quality shit. Yeah, it's already some quality shit, and because I've seen 5 shows this season. Actually, no, I've seen 6, and I've liked all 6, which is a rarity.
I have seen 5. And they've all been good to great or even better. So
yeah. So, which one do you want to start off with, Shane?
Okay, let's start with the ones that I watched that you didn't, and then we can vice versa from there. Dragon Quest.
I watched Dragon Quest, by the way.
Oh, you did? Okay, well, fucking okay.
Let's start with Dragon Quest then.
It's Dragon Quest.
It's really good. It's really good. Okay, so I'm a bigger Dragon Quest fan than you are because I don't know if you've played the games in any.
I've played a couple just in passing. I don't have a whole lot of experience.
Oh yeah, so I've played most of them. I've played 1 through 6, and then I've played 9 and 11. So I've played most of them, and they are very good. I'm a big fan of them.
I can agree with Matt on that. Dragon Quest XI is very fun.
Yeah,
you've been playing that lately.
Yeah, Dragon Quest XI is real good, and I have been, and this is. And all I know about this I didn't know much about this other than it's based on a manga from the 80s and 90s that was It was up there with Dragon Ball at one point as one of Jump's most popular manga. So for a while, this was actually like one of the big three in terms of shonen, if you could believe it. And after this first episode, this was really good. It feels like Dragon Quest. It feels like a Dragon Quest game.
Yeah.
And I mean that in the best way possible. You got your spells, you got your sword fighting, you got your monsters.
Yeah, you got summons.
Yeah,
there's slime.
Yeah, there's a lot of
slime.
There's a king slime. There's a golden slime.
Good.
There's a golden slime.
Golden slime. The golden slime is like the narrative. The narrative core of the episode, because these fake heroes show up to steal Dai's golden slime friend, and he's like, I'm not gonna take any of this bullshit. I'm gonna beat their ass.
Because we live in a world with because I like the premise of it too, because it seems to plays into the whole Dragon Quest idea of like just the multiple heroes across time, where like the show starts off with the original hero beating a Dragon Quest villain. So like the world is at peace almost, and all the monsters are like actually friendly now, which I love that setup. I think that's great. Plus, like, how can you not love slimes? They're so cute.
Yeah, they're so cute and harmless. Why would you ever attack a slime?
Harmless is a bit of a...
Okay, yeah, the king slimes are annoying, but like...
Metal slimes are my friend.
Metal slimes are your friends, yes. But in any case, Shane has never seen any Dragon Quest, and he liked it, so that should give you a good indication of it.
All I can say, from someone who has a very passing knowledge of Dragon Quest, all I can say is that it seems, at least based on this first episode, like a quality, traditional battle shonen with a Dragon Quest coat of paint. And that's high praise, because there's nothing wrong with that.
There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. And Sheeta. Lots of Sheeta animation.
Like, the first 3 minutes, it's just Sheeta.
Yeah, the animation in this first episode is excellent, by the way.
Yeah, there's a cut on the ship when Dai's fighting the fake hero, where there's a lot of like dynamic camera movement and background animation, and it looked really good.
Yeah, this is definitely strong for Toei. I don't know if they can keep this up, because this is supposed to be a long runner of over.
It's supposed to be a long runner, but I found out last night that Digimon is ending next year, so...
Oh, Digimon's ending next year? Well, that makes sense. Digimon doesn't usually run past 52 episodes.
Digimon is running for 66.
Yeah, so. I never expected Digimon to run over the 100 episodes. Like, 66 episodes sounds about right for Digi. So, now this is based on a manga that has like 400 chapters. This is going to be over 100 easy, and they only adapted like 1 or 2 chapters in the first episode, so yeah we're gonna be here a while.
Plus, from what I've heard, they've had a lot of pre-production on this, like more so than most of their other shows. They've been working on this for like...
It's for 30th anniversary of Dragon Quest, so this is probably why it's like this.
So they've been working on this for like over a year at this point, I think.
Yeah, I'm excited though. This is the animation is great, and I'm really liking the tone of it, and also Yuki Hayashi's doing the music, so the music.
Yes, I noticed that the music real good.
Yeah, the OP real good too. Oh, what's the other one you watched that I didn't watch?
Volleyball Boys.
Oh, Haikyuu. I didn't watch.
Haikyuu's back.
Yes.
Is it Haikyuu?
Yeah, it's Haikyuu. The thing about this core that's weird is that it's a direct continuation from where it left off in the winter. So there's really not much more to say than second verse, same as the first, which is not a bad thing because season 4 was already one of the best. So it's just more Haikyuu, and there's nothing wrong with that because Haikyuu is always excellent.
Yeah, Haikyuu's. I need to catch up on that. All right, let's move on to the stuff. I think I watched a couple of. I know I watched a couple of shows that you didn't, so I'll get those out of the way. The first one I want to talk about is Tonikawa, which is the new romance show that started up. It's real cute. I didn't expect it to. I didn't expect it to make that much of a impact, to be honest. But I have to give it credit. It's cutting all the bullshit, and they're in a relationship at the very start, which I like.
I've only heard like a little bit of the premise, but like, is it true that the whole premise is that they can't date unless they're married?
Yes, that's the premise.
How does that work?
It's a little weird, but the first episode at least gives you a little bit of like, kind of like indication that that at least with the main lead girl, which is Tsukasa, she has other reasons for doing what she's doing. So it's going to be something that's like you're gonna learn eventually in the show. It's real cute though, because they do have good chemistry, so it's fine.
That's good.
And the art style is really, it's like this almost chibi-esque art style. So like it's a very wholesome, innocent show, which we need more of in 2020. So it's definitely appreciated. It's very funny too. It's very funny. And the main character's name is NASA, like literally NASA, like in the American Space Department, NASA. Which is
so it's going to space at some point, right?
Maybe, I don't know. I mean,
the subtitle is "Over the Moon" for you, so
yeah, maybe. And Tsukasa turns out, and there's hints in the end of the first episode that Tsukasa's kind of a space nerd herself. So maybe. It's from the same writer as Hayate the Combat Butler, which I remember reading years ago. And I enjoyed that too. It's got the same kind of like humor, where it's not really raunchy at all. It's like very gag based and almost very like wholesome humor, which I like a lot. So it's definitely worth checking out if you want just something to just afterwards just say "aw," and then you're
good, and then you're good for the week.
And then you're good for the week.
Your soul has been cleansed, and you can wait until next Friday.
Yeah. The other one I watched that Shane didn't is okay. It's going to take me a while to explain this one, so I apologize off the bat. So there's a show airing this season called Hypnosis Mic.
Is it actually good?
I'm not sure, but I am not sure. But I had a blast with it, and I would love to watch more episodes of this. So I'm going to try to describe it to you, Shane, and I'm going to let you know this. I'm going to try to explain this show with words, because the only way you can actually understand this show is by watching it.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
And I highly recommend you do so. But I'm going to try to describe it. So it's set in a world where there was a coup at the government. Where a party known as, I believe they're called the Party of Words. They take over the government, and they're like, "Hey, we're in charge now." And the whole gimmick is that they're all made up of women.
Okay.
So women basically rule Japan at this point. And they're called the Party of Words because they don't want men to solve their problems with violence anymore. So they ban all forms of weaponry, all forms of combat, all that stuff. Now battles are fought with rap battles because there's words. And
what the fuck am I hearing?
The greatest thing in the history of anime. So they have these things called hypnosis mics, which are literally mics.
Oh my fucking god, they're actually items.
And when you rap into them, they'll affect the opponent, the one they're rapping against, in various ways, and that can actually like hurt them. So you literally can use words to hurt somebody.
Okay. So theoretically, could you take a hypnosis mic and through the power of rap, persuade your opponent to your side through rapping.
That hasn't been done yet, but I would imagine you can.
Holy fuck.
And so the show takes place where there's multiple districts in Japan, all ruled or controlled by certain groups of like rappers. And of course all of them are pretty anime boys, because of course this is based on like some kind of like it's based on like an idol series or whatever the hell.
Of course it is.
Yeah. I didn't know that going in, by the way. And so all of them rap, and some of them are fucking just insane. One of the rapping groups goes to like there's like a drug trade going on between like two rival mafia gangs, and this group shows up to that group, and this like group of rappers shows up to what's happening, and fucking one of them is like used to be a military guy, so he raps about the military, and in his rap, and in the visuals for his rap, there's just fucking like cannons and artillery bombs that go off. Fucking and when people pull out their mics, it sounds like a gun clocking. It sounds like a pistol.
Of course it does.
Anime
it sounds like they take out a pistol. It's amazing.
Anime was a mistake.
I say that I'm actually conflicted whether or not the show is good, because honestly, outside of the fact that this show is really stupid, the animation is really good. It's really good. The visuals are fucking incredible. One of the best looking shows of the year. And the raps are actually really good.
Matt really going to get me to watch Hypnosis Mic. Crazy.
You have to experience it. At least watch the first episode, and you'll see. You'll understand what it is. Honestly, I'm not here for whatever plot. The plot's probably garbage, but I'm here. Instead,
the plot probably fucking sucks.
I'm here for cool visuals, raps, and anime boys. That's all I'm here for. And it delivers that in spades. Like, it knows its audience and just commits to the premise, and I have to respect it. Like, I have to respect it for just committing to this premise and going with it. So for that, like, I'm just gonna, I'm watching more. I'm sold. I watched it. I was like, hell yeah, this is down. I'm down for this. This is dope. That's my best way I can describe it.
Me hopping on Funimation to watch Hypno Mic right after this podcast.
Do it. I'll be here for it. In any case, all right, let's move on to the shows that we have watched together, which are not as bonkers as Hypnosis Mic.
No, definitely
not. But let's start. Which one do you want to start off with, Shane?
Let's start with Hikarashi, because that's pretty straightforward. It's Hikarashi.
It's literally Hikarashi, and not even much of a difference. It's like a shot-for-shot remake of the first episode, almost.
Yeah, it was weird, because I was watching that episode, and I
remembered everything.
This don't feel like a remake. It just feels like I'm watching the first episode of the original again.
It feels like a video game remaster of the original. It feels like
a little bit,
because the animation is definitely a lot better. I love some of the
even though at some points it's
hot
like
take. I don't think it would be Higurashi without some jank.
That is true. That's fair enough. That is absolutely fair.
Like, I remember watching the original, and I'm like, no, the jank of Higurashi actually kind of adds to like the creepiness factor of it almost.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay. That's a fair argument.
Yeah, so like the fact that they had this some jank here, I think is good. I do like the fact that the characters do have have more simple designs. So like characters like Sadako really benefit from it, because she's really energetic here. Same with Reina. Reina's great here too.
Yeah, it definitely the new art style definitely upplays the like false innocence of it all, because some shit's going to go down, but
and I know
it's light and bubbly.
And I know a lot of people who are watching this who've never seen the original Higurashi, because there's been 15 years, so there's a new generation of fans who've never seen Higurashi, and I can't wait for them to see it. I can't wait, because they're gonna lose their minds over it. Like how I lost my mind when the original opening played at the very end of this episode.
Right.
And it started playing at the perfect moment too. Like when he started, when he was starting to go through all of the fucking newspapers.
And then
I
just
hear that. I was like, yes! Oh my god! I lost my shit. I was like, I can't believe. Which apparently, I think that's going to be the opening to the series too. I think they're just keeping the same music because that OP is iconic and it's one of the best. It's one of my absolute favorites, and I hope that I hear it again because it's so good. Kenzie Kwai's score is back, and it's all glory. It's literally just Higurashi. If you haven't seen Higurashi, watch this. It's great.
I'm now interested.
Go ahead, Shane.
I'm sorry. I was just gonna say, now that we're past this first episode, I'm interested to see how exactly they're going to approach the rest of it.
I think maybe they did this first episode purposely, like the original, to get old fans back in, and maybe they're gonna do their own thing. I think it's gonna be the same adaptation as before, but I don't think they're going to complete. It's going to be a 1-for-1, shot-for-shot adaptation. If it is, then I'm going to be a little disappointed because
I'm going to be very disappointed because what's the point?
Yeah, which would then also be like the creators saying, "Well, we can't top the original." Which, to be fair, the original is going to be very difficult to top because the direction in that is just so good. And it's so good. So I'm curious to see how this does its own thing.
How do you feel about Higurashi, Josh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Considering I hated the original.
I don't think this is going to do anything for you. It's pretty much
no. It definitely won't.
I don't think this is going to do anything for you. I think it's like if you didn't like Higurashi the first time around, don't bother. It's the same thing.
I did not.
Yeah, don't bother.
Its story aspects just annoyed me.
Yeah, don't bother with that. It's literally the same. In any case, Shane, what's the next one you want to talk about?
Assault Lily.
Bouquet.
This was pretty all right.
This was a show with magic.
It was an event that took place on a Thursday afternoon at like
now, I'm gonna
2
start
p.m.
with the good here because there's actually a lot of good here. First, the OP whips.
OP whips, yes, I agree.
The OP of this show whips. The ED whips too. Good music all around. The score's really good too.
Yeah, like that gym trainer battle at the very beginning.
Yeah, I had to pause because I had to laugh. I was like, that sounds like Pokemon. I was like, are you kidding me? And the animation's really good too.
Animation's really good, but that's Shaft. You expect that.
Yeah, it's Shaft. You expect it's a little subdued for Shaft. I didn't expect that. It's
not as crazy as some of their other outputs.
Yeah. Then again, this is the first episode, so maybe they're holding up the crazy shit for later.
Yeah. Who knows?
This is Assault Lily Bouquet is Symphogear meets Madoka Magica. That's the best way I can describe it.
Definitely have some Madoka vibes. More so in the moe aspect rather than the darker undertones.
The two leads are literally Madoka and Homura, though. Like it's not even like a. It's not even like a fucking. I saw it's like, oh, the first character is pink hair. There's Madoka, long black hair and sullen
Homura.
And very cold. It's Homura. There's all the more interesting characters I find out that everyone else, like the fucking the red-haired girl, I find more interesting because she's new. I've never seen a character like her in a magical girl show before.
Yeah.
So like, oh, I like you. That you're new. The thing that impressed me the most was definitely the fight animation was really good. Yeah. It blends CG and 2D very well.
Yeah. I noticed that too. A lot of the monster shots. Also, the monsters are called huge. Just let that set in.
It's dumb.
No, but I noticed a lot of the monster shots are CG, and they incorporate that with the 2D pretty seamlessly. Like you can definitely tell sometimes, like the actual girls turn into CG models, but it's blended well enough.
Yeah, they usually don't, from what I could tell. It's usually mostly 2D 90% of the time. There's a couple times they do, but it's only in like the transformation scenes, I think.
I definitely noticed a couple times the girls turn CG, and it's pretty jarring. But again, it's seamless enough where if you weren't paying attention, you probably couldn't notice.
And the 2D fight animation is like really
good. But again, Shaft,
the only issue I have with the show is that this first episode did nothing to really get me hooked on a story or whatever. It seems like it's a very basic introduction.
I love shows that try to explain every single thing about its universe in a ham-fisted manner.
Riri doesn't shut up. I love her, but at the same time, like, she needs to learn to calm down.
And here's the thing. Like, this kind of exposition can work if done properly, but I'm sorry. When the first 5 minutes of the episode are the main character internally monologuing to themselves, explaining everything that's going on to themselves, I'm like, okay, I just want you to shut up and let me figure this out on my own. Like, please.
Yeah. Honestly, the tone of this is it feels like a much lighter in tone Magia record from earlier this year. And and the Magia record has the benefit of having much better direction.
Yeah.
I'm still gonna watch this though.
Yeah, I'm gonna stick around.
I like the cast a lot. I like the animation enough, and there are hints of a darker undertone to this show that I can just tell. So I'm curious to see where this goes.
But if it devolves into just dumb magical girl action bullshit, I'm okay with that. Honestly, I can turn my brain off for that.
Like I said, I also got Symphogear. Like that's why I compared it to Symphogear. It's like a darker Symphogear, because this also has like the same tone as Symphogear, where it's just kind of like fuck it, let's just go. Because there's so many magical girls in this show. There's so many. There's like fucking I think like 8 or 10 of them. There's so many of them. And they're all color coded for your convenience.
Yeah. Thankfully, thank God.
That's how you know. It's like, hey,
just
you
reference
like
your
one?
color sheet so you know who's on screen.
Pretty much. We'll save the big one for last, I think, Shane. What's the other one that we?
I think we're at the big one, Matt. I don't think we have anything else.
Okay, yeah, then we're at the big one.
There's something I want to talk about that technically we can count as simulcast.
I swear.
What aired on Wednesday? ReZero.
ReZero. Oh, technically that did air.
Yeah.
But we're talking about new season, Josh.
Well, this is still simulcast technically. You fucking retard.
Talk about ReZero, you fucking cuck.
I will go over there.
Yeah, fight me. Drive your car right through my front door.
This fucking episode. Everything except the ending. Even the ending was still pretty good, but this episode was just pain.
This episode was really good, as per usual.
It made me hurt because great personal growth for Subaru, though.
Agreed.
Very, very great personal growth for Subaru again.
Agreed. I can see what this is a weird place to end it, but I can totally understand why if this was supposed to be like a full 25.
Yeah.
Straight run, it was going to be, but COVID fucked them. It sounds like
Otto is the best boy.
Yeah, Otto is the best. I love Otto. I think he might be one of my favorites, actually.
I really like him.
I think he might be one of my favorites.
Otto is a bro, so
I think that's the whole reason why I'm okay with how it ended. Was Otto was like, all right, listen here, you little bitch.
Yeah, it definitely. I love Otto though. I think he's definitely one of my favorite characters now.
Yes.
So I hope to see in the second half. I hope to see a lot more of him.
We finally realized who the villain is, which was a not a big twist, but actually no, it was a big twist for who he sent. That he sent the assassins to the.
Yeah, it's fucking what's his face.
Rosewald.
Spoilers, by the way.
Yeah, spoilers. Rosewald, who, by the way, gave me creep vibes in season 1, so I kind of saw.
Yeah, so it was pretty obvious.
I kind of saw this coming. So I'm curious to see like how that goes.
Subaru's like, I'm going to save you, Satella, and I was like, oh.
Yeah. Huh. I'm curious. So yeah, I'm definitely excited for the second half. We have to wait till January.
I also want to quickly say the ending might take place for my favorite ending of the year.
Oh, the ED?
Yes, Memento.
ED's very good.
I really like the ED.
Yeah.
I forget what the OP is because,
they barely played
They
it.
only
There was
used it
only
like 3 times.
Which is good though. That's why I love ReZero so much, man. They don't need to play the opening.
Yeah, they don't usually play it. OP's good. I think it's probably my least favorite of the 3 right now.
Opening 2 still for me.
Yeah, opening 2 is my favorite as well.
Paradis is Paradoxum.
Yep. But at the same time, it's still good.
That's the problem. Is openings get shafted in ReZero.
Yeah, openings definitely. The EDs I feel stand out more in ReZero because of the fact they use them so much more. That first ED I still love. I still love that first.
Well, yeah, the first ED is Styx Helix. The second ED is Stay Alive, which is my favorite.
Stay Alive is really good too.
That's my favorite because it's sung by Ria Takahashi, who voices Amelia. So it's basically Amelia asking Subaru to stay alive.
And Memento is fantastic. So
Memento is great.
Yeah, Memento's fantastic. So, but in any case, let's move on to the biggie, which is Jujutsu Kaisen.
Jujutsu!
I had never seen the manga. I
haven't seen the manga yet.
I haven't read the manga yet, so this was a complete blind watch.
This is your first experience to Jujutsu Kaisen.
Jujutsu Kaisen has my favorite premiere of the season. It is absolutely the best premiere of the season. Right now, that could change. There's still a lot of stuff that needs to premiere, and there's a lot of stuff that I still need to watch as well. But the one thing that stuck up from this gave me, I haven't been this excited for a shonen after its first episode since My Hero. I remember watching My Hero's premiere back all the way in 2016.
2016.
And fucking loving it. Like I thought it was an incredible premiere, and I was like, "Yo, this is gonna this is something I'm gonna stick with." Jujutsu Kaisen gave me the exact same feeling that show did, which is a great thing because the one thing that show that My Hero did, and this show in particular does very well, is that both make you relate to its protagonist extremely well. They both have excellent shonen protagonists.
I love Yuji. I love him.
Yuji's great. He's half stupid, but also half smart. It's like that. He's the perfect balance of he's actually kind of smart, but he lacks any common sense whatsoever. So he comes off as an idiot.
He just rushes headfirst into everything without thinking, and that's where he gets his
I remember him
idiotic.
doing some of the stuff in this episode. I'm like, it's like, yo, you're not stupid. You're actually very extremely intelligent, and he talks smart too. He just looks at a fucking, but then you have moments where he lacks common sense. So he'll look at the finger and be like, "Oh shit, can you eat this?
Can you eat this? Who would eat this? But can you eat it?"
Me as well as how funny this episode was. It's so funny.
That's what I said. I'm shocked, frankly, on how much they focus on the humor of Jujutsu Kaisen, because as someone who is caught up on the manga, for most of it, it is a dark supernatural action manga, but it does have its own very quirky style of humor.
It's a very demented sense of humor. I love that.
Mm-hmm. And you will see that later on when they start introducing new characters that have really weird gimmicks, but they're really funny. And I'm very surprised but also happy at how much they focused on the humor in this episode, especially in the first half. There's a lot of background gags that they added in that if you weren't paying attention to the background details, you could miss. But when I noticed them, I was fucking dying.
The fucking everything with the gym teacher, the track and field guy. The guy he shows the shot put. He's like, "Aha! Yes, I am so strong." Yuji fucking throws it and hits a fucking goal post, and he just stands there in shock. And as they're talking in the background, as it constantly cuts away, people just adding more and more shot put balls to the guy's fucking
they're just adding shot put balls on his head. They're all taking selfies while he's just standing there like a statue.
And I was losing my shit. I could barely focus on the actual episode because I was losing my shit.
I could barely focus on the dialogue because once I noticed what was happening in the background, I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah, there's some great stuff. The Occult Club I love. I think they're hilarious. Ryuji's a great protagonist. The emotional gut punches in this episode I did not see coming, and I thought that worked extremely well.
They did a good job adapting that because that's all in the first chapter, so it happens like out of nowhere, kind of.
I know that doesn't have that all this episode's the first chapter. Like that's
it's just the first chapter, yeah.
Yeah, so it does what My Hero did and takes like an episode or two to adapt an entirety of the first chapter, which I like.
At least
I love
it
when
take 2 episodes to adapt a single chapter.
Yeah, oh yeah, fucking My Hero did that. To be fair, I think My Hero's chapter is longer than Jujutsu's is.
No, it's the same length. It's a standard first shonen chapter length.
Bones just did something. Bones just took 2 episodes then. Okay. You love to see it. But I really love this. I really love this. Fight animation is spectacular. Although if you saw God of High School, that is not a shock.
Yeah, everything in the second half is fucking incredible. And yeah, Mappa has not missed. They really haven't.
They really haven't. I'm so happy for them. They're like the big studio right now, and I'm so happy for that. Because I've been following them since like they started up, and this is just so nice to see them just explode like this. I'm excited now if they can hold this for Attack on Titan. I'm so I'm excited.
Yes.
And unlike God of High School, I'm already much more invested in the story than I was with God of High School. Okay. So this has the benefit of having amazing animation while also having an actually great cast of characters and
a well-told story.
And a well-told story to go along with it. I know that it's going to take, just like all shonen, it's going to take a little bit to get to the really, really good stuff. But that's, again, to be expected for this kind of thing.
Yeah, that's standard. And like I said to you in Side Chat last night, it won't take very long, but once they start introducing...
probably.
Yeah,
because
once they start introducing more characters and they really start going into the cursed energy, which is their power system for Kaisen, and how it works and how it can be like implemented in different ways, that's when it starts to get really good.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna lie when I say, and I think this will make you even more excited, Matt, that Jujutsu energy, cursed energy in this series is very similar to how Nen works.
I've heard, I've read, and I'm excited for that because I love power systems like that have rules and restrictions.
Yeah, there's rules, and also it's very like malleable. You can use it in so many different applications, so you get a lot of really cool creative powers.
Yeah, that's why I love Nen. That's why I love Nen. That's why I love quirks from My Hero, because they're the same way. And that's why I'm probably gonna love cursed energy from Jujutsu. More stuff needs to be like those 3, because I love power systems like that are rigid in their rules, but they're malleable in how they can be implemented. And I like that a lot. So in any case, Jujutsu, awesome, best premiere of the season so far.
Easy.
Easy best premiere of the season. If I had to pick a runner-up, probably Dragon Quest or Hypnosis Mic. The Hypnosis Mic was fucking awesome. Guilty pleasure of the season, automatic. I don't care already. It's like I fucking love it. In any case, so
I think that's it.
Yeah, that's it. Obviously, more shows will premiere for the next podcast, and we'll talk about that then. So we'll get, and so I think it's time we move on to simulpubs. There's only one manga we want to talk about because speaking of My Hero, My Hero is incredible right now, and if you're not reading My Hero, fucking read it, please.
Yeah,
please. It is absolutely like it is like having probably its best arc it's ever had right now. Not gonna lie.
You can finally do the meme too of what the manga readers have said. Bakugo's dead.
Yeah, rip Bakugo.
Die.
Bakugo is dead.
I don't think he's dead, but I think he's
severely injured.
He's going to be gravely injured.
Yeah, and I do like how he did it. It's basically him resolving his character arc almost.
Yeah, he's finally become a true hero after all these years.
Yeah, he's a true hero, and now he respects.
Only
Deku.
took him how many chapters?
285.
280. Seeing him actually go from like the beginning of the manga till now is such a good development. I fucking love Bakugo. I fucking love Bakugo.
It's even better in retrospect, seeing everything that they've both gone through.
Yep. Yeah. I fucking love Bakugo. I think he's just such a great character, and that's why I hope he doesn't die, because I love him and I want more.
He's gonna die.
Also, the last chapter was really last couple of chapters has been really good.
See, I think the reason he did this though, or Horikoshi did this, was to give Deku motivation to flip out and beat the absolute piss out of.
Yeah, absolute piss out of Shigaraki. Will Shigaraki die at the end of this arc? Is the question.
I think he will. I honestly think
this is the last time we're done with. I don't know if we're gonna. Are you think we're done with Shigaraki after this?
I don't know about that.
I don't think we will.
I don't think we're done. I don't think we're done for All for One. I think we're done with Shigaraki.
That's the thing, because I don't know if we're not. Because I like to keep him on because I like the parallels and dynamics between Shigaraki a lot, and that's why I want to keep him around.
I do, however, letting him live after how much effort they put into it would be pointless. It would be an absolute waste.
Yeah, unless they're doing an arc where Shigaraki wins, or at least escapes, which is what I'm thinking. So yeah, I hope that Shigaraki doesn't die, because I want to keep him around. I think they're building instead to some kind of a situation where Shigaraki either wins or he doesn't win, but he escapes and he's not, and they.
Well, I don't think I don't think he's gonna win. I
don't think he's gonna win either. I think instead he'll do a ton of damage and then be defeated, but he'll fuck off.
Because he's taken a shit ton of damage.
Yeah, but so has Deku and the rest of the heroes. Everyone is just fucked now. I see two possible outcomes. Shigaraki dies, or both sides take massive damage. Which I think is the latter. I think it's
the latter. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's the latter because this is the arc where heroes disappeared. And I think I don't think that means the episode that I don't think that means where they left the city. I think they're building to the Hero Society just completely crumbling down, at least as we know it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think because they've killed off a bunch of side characters. A lot of the major pro heroes are currently injured. Midnight is fucked. Gran Torino is actually not dead, Shane. He's actually alive still.
Yeah, I know. He's just very injured.
Endeavor's taking damage. Mirko's taking a lot of damage.
Mirko doesn't have an arm or a leg now.
Yeah, Mirko doesn't have an arm or a leg now. Endeavor's fucked. He's
Mount
not
Lady's fucked.
Down, he's dead. Mount Lady's fucked.
Aizawa don't have a quirk anymore.
Aizawa doesn't have a quirk anymore.
Wait, did he actually get hit? I don't remember.
He got hit with the bullet, dude.
It's permanent too. His quirk's gone. He's that's the big deal.
Ow!
Josh is.
Yeah, he got hit with the bullet, and then he tried to amputate his leg before the serum could get through his body, but then Shigaraki stopped him.
Yeah, because Shigaraki's a bitch. Most of the pro heroes are fucked. Even some of Hawks is fucking burnt.
Yeah, who even knows what's going on with Hawks at this point?
Yeah, Hawks. I forgot Hawks was a thing until I thought about it right now. I'm like, wait a minute, there's still Hawks.
Was that last chapter that he got shot?
It was a couple chapters ago.
Dude, this arc's been moving so fast.
This arc's just been so fucking
just nuts. It's been fucking insane.
It's absolutely bonkers.
I can't wait to see all this animated, dude. Imagine
season 6 gonna be wild.
Season 5's gonna be great too, because that's my villain.
Yeah, the second half's gonna be my villain, and I'm excited for that shit.
The first half is
It's the
Class
1A
A versus Class B. Yeah.
Yeah. Then we get My Villain. Oh, next season's good. Oh, next 2 seasons are gonna be so good.
Dude, My Villain Academia.
Yeah. But I'm excited. Yeah, that's pretty much what we wanted to talk about with simulpubs, because everything else is kind of the same right now.
Yeah.
One Piece is on break for 2 weeks, so that's gonna be fun.
Yeah.
Because Oda's sick. But My Hero and Black Hero, Black Clover, Jujutsu, all that stuff should be still raring to go by the time we come on next week. So, let's move on to our singular piece of news, and it's about it's about Eden Zero, specifically.
Oh,
It's about what?
Eden Zero.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Eden Zero. So it's getting an anime.
Yes.
It's getting an anime.
Mhm.
So let's read on. A TGS 2020 live stream for Hiro Mashima's Eden Zero manga franchise revealed the main staff and the April 2021 premiere on Saturday for the television anime adaptation of the manga. The anime will air on NTV and its affiliates. Shinji Ishihara, who's the director of both Fairy Tail and Log Horizon, will be the chief director for the series at JC Staff.
Nice.
Yushi Suzuki, who is the episode director for the most recent series of Fairy Tail, the final one, will be the official director of the show, and Mitsuka Horata, who wrote Zoid's Wild and Rent a Girlfriend, will oversee and write the series script. And Yurika Sako, who worked on key animation for all of Food Wars, will be working as character designer.
Damn.
This was at TGS as well because they also revealed that there will be a 3D action RPG on consoles coming out for it. So
ironic that Fairy Tail just had their big RPG game.
Yeah. So Josh is a big fan of Mashima. So
yeah, Josh, what do you think?
I'm very excited. Eden Zero, especially, is where Mashima's writing really started to pick up. Fairy Tail, don't get me wrong, Fairy Tail is good, but especially Eden Zero, his writing. If you've read
Fairy Tail in space,
I know Matt.
What?
Shane, I will go over there. I know Matt's also reading the Fairy Tail 100 Quest.
Yeah, I've been reading Fairy Tail 100 because I'm a big Fairy Tail guy, and the
100-Year Quest I feel is already a lot better written than.
It's very good. It's very good. I like it a lot. And Eden Zero is actually very good because there's a plot twist at some point in the manga that I won't say for Shane, but it actually changes the dynamic of the entire show, and it's something that I legit did not see coming, and I was like, oh, okay, it was actually a really good twist, and it's something that's I haven't really seen something like this in a shonen before.
No, Mashima is a really good writer.
Yeah.
I only read the first chapter of Eden Zero way back when it came out.
Yeah, and it does feel like in the early arcs especially, it feels like Fairy Tail in space.
But
it starts to carve out its own identity after a bit, while keeping the same tone as like stuff like Rave Master and Fairy Tail, which is specifically because like it doesn't help that like there's like another Happy in this fucking show. So
isn't it just the same Happy?
It's a different Happy. It's an alternate universe Happy.
Listen, he's just become the mascot, just like Plu. Plu's become the mascot of.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Plu hasn't shown up yet, but he will. He absolutely will.
Yeah, no, Plu and Happy are just mascots now at this point.
Yeah, and it's and they've confirmed that it will be a long runner. That's
cool.
Of course.
Which Eden Zero, I mean, it has to be. I mean, it's Mashima. His stuff is extremely popular.
Yes.
So I'm looking forward to
a long runner from JC Staff, though.
JC Staff can be pretty good. Depends on who they got for set. Look, it's the Fairy Tail people doing it. It's the same. It's from what I can tell. It's also like a lot of the same staff coming over to do this. And
JC Staff has done good.
And I'm not gonna claim Fairy Tail was the best looking show ever made.
No.
But it had it where it counted, and its fight scenes were always really good.
You know what? The final series looked pretty good.
Yeah, it did. So, and it's the episode like one of the lead episode directors is doing this. So I'm excited for. I'm excited for this. I'm definitely gonna go check it out once it comes out. And with that, that's our only piece of news because this is what happens when we do
A weekly show.
A weekly show. So let's talk about our featured anime of the podcast, which is, as per Classics Months, a show from all the way back from 1971. It is an older show, but but of course it's a classic that I'm pretty sure everyone in the anime community has heard of, and that is Lupin the Third, specifically Lupin the Third Part 1, directed by Masaki Osumi, Hayao Miyazaki, and Isao Takahata, and written by a bunch of people. I'm not going to name them, but it's like 9 people who worked on the writing for this. And it ran from October 24th, 1971 to March 26th, 1972 for 23 episodes, and is currently licensed by Discotek Media. So you can go get the DVD and Blu-ray from them, as well as watch it on Crunchyroll in the link below, where I'm pretty sure they have most of Lupin, not just Part 1. They have
they have all 5 parts.
They got all of it on there, all 5 parts. On there. So definitely you can go check that out. Lupin the Third follows, Lupin the Third, aka Arsène Lupin the Third, who is the grandson of the original Arsène Lupin from France. He is an internationally wanted thief who steals paintings and diamonds and jewelry and money and basically whatever catches his fancy. He's joined by he's joined by his best friend and gunsmith and gunslinger Daisuke Jigen, who is who works as something like the almost brains of the operation, as so to speak. He has his along with his other occasional partner Goemon Ishikawa, who's an old school Japanese samurai living in a modern day Japan. He is sometimes joined and sometimes rivaled by Fujiko Mine, who's the Catwoman to his Batman, almost. Will work with him to an extent, but will always backstab him in the end because got to get that sweet hard cash.
Gotta get that cash.
And
$20.
On their trail is Heiji Zenigata the Eighth. Zenigata is the descendant of a famous Japanese police officer who has made it his life mission to capture Lupin, but of course Lupin always gets away. That's pretty much Lupin. Lupin has no real overarching story. It's just 23 episodes of different adventures with the group. I fucking loved this show. Shane, what did you think of it?
I think I can speak for everyone when I say that after watching this is what I envision when I hear the term classic.
Yep, 100%.
It has that vintage vibe. You can see how this could be an influence for so many other shows across generations, and it's just a really good show on top of that too, because oh my god, I had so much fun watching Lupin the Third. It's just pure fun insanity from start to finish. No overarching narrative, no real deep thematic weight, just thieves being thieves. And that's all it really needs to be.
Yeah,
because it's fucking good.
It's good. Josh was the one who picked this. So what did you think of this?
This shit was good, man.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to watch Lupin the Third. Mm-hmm. I'm pretty sure both me and Matt have always wanted to watch Lupin the Third.
Yeah, Lupin the Third's been on my watch list.
It's been a show that I've heard in passing so many times, but I've never watched. Mm-hmm. And now I finally can say I have.
Yeah.
And my god, was it good.
It's so good.
This is just lighthearted comedy at its best.
Absolutely. It's so good.
Shane didn't mention this. The animation.
For 1971, this shit looks really good.
Pretty damn good.
It looks pretty damn good. It holds up for the most part. It holds up.
This can pass off as a 1980s.
Yeah, definitely. 1980 stuff, and it still holds up for the most part today because there's some really good movement in it. Like the slapstick comedy is really good too.
Let me put this into perspective for y'all. I've started the next show we're covering, Go Shogun,
which is look as good as this.
Came out 15 years after this in 1986. this trumps it in every single aspect.
Oh my god. Okay.
So that should give you some perspective on just how good the animation is for how early the show came out.
Yeah, like this came out in 1970. Like Gundam is one of the original Mosu Gundam is a show that I adore. But then that came out 7 years after this in 1978, and it looks like booty butt cheeks. It does not hold up at all. It looks
like fucking pudding.
It looks like ass at points. The movies fixed it. The movie versions of it look really great. But the original and the original series literally has a moment where the Gundam jumps out, like fucking is launched out of the ship and is just standing and floating across the frame.
It looks like someone smeared Jello pudding all over an animation cell.
This looks a lot better than that. This looks really great, and I credit that a lot to all three directors on the show, because one of those names is Hayao Miyazaki. And this was the first series that he ever worked on. This was the first, at least at the director's stage. He worked on a couple of shows before this, and animation roles. But this was the first one he directed, and you can kind of tell his influence. Actually,
yeah, hell of a debut then.
Yeah, you can kind of tell his influence too, because there's a lot of episodes that have to do with planes and clocks and mechanics and shit. That sounds like something that would be in a Miyazaki movie. So you can kind of tell where his influence came in. But let's talk about our favorite episodes of Lupin. Now, Lupin, because it's an episodic show, there are many, many choices for a best episode here, and it comes down to personal taste on what you want from a Lupin episode. So I'm going to start with Josh. What's your favorite episode of the entire series?
Here's
the hardest decision he's ever had to make.
It's a very tough one, because they're all great episodes.
Yeah, there's not really a bad one.
Each episode was just... Each had its own charm. I think I'll say episode 4.
Episode 4.
Oh, the prison break.
Oh, that's a good one. Ooh, that's a good one. I love that. I love that one.
Because Lupin just gets the ultimate revenge on Zenigata. Because they're just like, Lupin, why haven't you broken free yet? You can do it whenever you want.
It's been over a year. Why the fuck? Why are you still here? Please break out.
Why did he have a beard? He's got this big-ass beard.
He wanted to get the revenge on Zenigata.
I love that episode specifically because it's building to one singular joke, and I love episodes that are like that.
I love that Mine is constantly trying to break him out, and Jigen's just like, just stop it.
Just stop. Just don't bother.
Yeah, Jigen's like, he'll get out. Don't worry.
He'll get out eventually. Just give the man some time.
Also, I think you guys will agree with me on this, but up until this point, the show was really good, but I think episode 4 is like the threshold when it starts to get truly great.
Yeah, this was the first episode where I was like, hell yeah, like this is the kind of shit I want to see from Lupin. Because it's that kind of like cat and mouse game between Lupin and Zenigata that I really love, because they're both very intelligent people on other sides of the law, constantly trying to outwit one each other. But Lupin's just a little smarter, which is why he always wins.
But he's also infinitely stupider.
He runs on one brain cell with Jigen at all times. Like, they have a singular brain cell, and it's fucking fun. And it gets
literally. It's just us,
obvious.
Matt.
Yeah, it's more obvious in later episodes, but they're both simultaneously the smartest and dumbest people alive. Yeah. And I love it.
Like, Lupin is an absolute idiot as soon as a woman walks on the screen.
When Fujiko Mine is around,
Lupin's just like, huh? IQ equals what?
To be fair, though, Fujiko Mine.
She's great.
But Shane, what's your favorite episode of the show?
My favorite episode is...
I think I know which one it is because you mentioned it before.
Yeah. It was originally episode 4. I originally agreed with Josh, but once I got to this point in the show, I was like, this episode is just fucking stupid, and I love it. It's episode 13, Beware the Time Machine.
That's my choice as well. This is my choice as well, because for one singular reason, this is the dumbest episode of the show.
Stupidest shit.
But it's so funny. And
it makes zero sense because it's like this show is
referenced again either, and
like this show is, for all intents and purposes, pretty grounded for the most part, and then there's just a time traveler, and it's like a real time traveler. It's not like the magician from episode 2 where he's just pulling a prank. Yeah. It's like a real time traveler, and it's like, what?
He's a time traveler like the year 2851 or some shit, and he's like fucking like your family, you're descended like fucking 10 generations from now kills my family, so I'm gonna go back in time to
Lupin the 13th
to kill your fucking ancestors so you don't exist. And Lupin's just getting fucked with the entire episode. He doesn't even do much of anything other than just fuck with Lupin for like a week. Literally, it's great.
The entire episode boils down to, man, that's a pretty cool thing you got there. It'd be a shame if someone made it disappear, and then it just disappears. And Lupin's
my favorite thing is he's trying to get married to Fujiko in like a last minute attempt to fucking like
Fujiko just poof.
And just like Fujiko's just like, okay, I'll marry you.
And fucking like he just disappears out of existence, and the priest is like fucking crying.
The priest just ran. He's like, I didn't do it.
The devil or some shit. And the resolution to the episode's really funny too, because they literally trick him.
They just trick him into thinking that he actually has gone back in time, when in reality it's the same fucking day, and they just beat the shit out of the time machine.
They just beat the shit out of him. They steal his clothes for no reason other than they can. It's a really funny episode. Like, it's really funny, and it's the kind of that was like the moment. I know that's like the last episode that the original director worked on. I'll get into why in a bit. But it's it's such a funny. It's really funny. Like, I remember watching and just losing my mind.
I'm just sitting here thinking about it now, and I just can't stop laughing.
Yeah, like it's just fucking. It's just really good. It's just really good.
I think this episode is also a great encapsulation of like the spirit of Lupin, because it's just dumb, lighthearted bullshit.
Where I think this is a great, like, show this episode to anyone, and you can kind of like get like it's like Lupin could literally tackle anything, and like it's after this point you realize, okay, Lupin it can just do whatever it wants now.
Yeah,
like
Lupin is God.
Yeah.
Lupin is God.
Lupin is God.
All right, let's talk about favorite. Let's talk about who our favorite character is, because this is like who do we pick?
They're all great. They're all great.
Yeah, they're all great. So Shane, who do you pick?
Show of hands, who picked Jigen?
I picked Jigen.
I picked Jigen.
Okay, we all picked Jigen.
We all picked Jigen. Okay, it was hard because I love all of them, but I have to give it to my boy Jigen.
Jigen is a fucking bro, dude.
He is the biggest bro.
Yeah.
Possible.
Like Jigen, he's suave, he's cool. He's got like the best design in the entire series, where his like eyes are always covered by
He was born grumpy.
He was born grumpy
and hates women.
He
doesn't hate women.
He just hates Fujiko. He just hates Fujiko. Yeah, he just hates Fujiko.
Which is understandable, because the way she treats Lupin, he's a bro protecting his bro.
No, sorry. He doesn't hate women. He hates the fact that Lupin always gets infatuated with them and then fucks up the jobs.
Fucks up the jobs. It's like, stop being horny. He's the horny police for Lupin.
He's so cool.
I love him though, because he gets a lot of great moments throughout. He's kind of like he's like the grounder for Lupin's more insane antics. and no, and plus his design's great. He's just cool. He's suave. It's difficult to
Not hate. It's difficult.
It's difficult to hate him. And my favorite thing about him is that the actor of playing him, which is Kiyoshi Kobayashi, has been playing Jigen since the original pilot back in 1969, and still plays Jigen to this day. Yeah, he's still playing him to this day, which is, I love that kind of dedication when there's just an actor that just is the character. So Jigen's definitely my favorite in a cast of fantastic characters.
Jigen's just a cool dude. He's the definition of a cool dude.
He's a cool dude. He's a cool dude. I don't know if we can do a least favorite for this.
There are no least favorites.
I do not have a pick for this
because this is a difficult thing because the cast for every episode literally changes because it's a bunch of
what I'll do?
What?
My least favorite out of the 5. I love them all, but probably Goemon.
Goemon? Well, because he shows up the least.
How dare you?
I love. That's the thing. I love Goemon.
Here's the thing. I love them all. But Goemon has the least amount of love out of them all.
He also had that episode, but he also had that moment when he jumped into like the beauty pageant and just started slicing everything up.
Trust me, that was great.
Slicing people up.
It's kind of hard because there's Fujiko, there's Lupin.
It's Fujiko. It's Fujiko. Fujiko's the worst one. If you disagree, you are wrong.
I like Fujiko.
I like Fujiko a lot. I really like Fujiko a lot because I think she's an interesting character.
Matt, you're right. The second half Fujiko kind of got dumbed down.
I prefer first half Fujiko over second half Fujiko, and I'll explain
because why. Second half, she started just doing her antics, and Lupin started.
Second half, she lost a lot of what made her interesting, which was like the fact that she was kind of on both sides. I loved that. I thought that was an interesting dynamic, and I'm always a big fan of what we call like the Catwoman Batman dynamic.
Hopefully they bring it back in the second half or part 2.
Yeah, part 2 I know it's more. I want to watch Woman Called Fujioka Mine.
I do too.
Because I've heard that's like the best version of Lupin that's been animated. So I would and I would love to check that one out. I'll check it out at some point. It's only like 12 episodes too. It's really short.
The nice thing is I feel like with Lupin you can hop in for any part and
pretty much get caught up and like understand. With the exception of part 5, which is apparently a direct sequel to part 4 and actually references stuff from that. So that albeit it's not strictly required, but like it does have like nods and gags there.
I really want to watch part 4 and 5 just to see the animation.
It looks incredible from what I've seen. So
when did part 4 come out? I know part 5 was 2018, but when was part 4?
2015. 2015.
And it's set in Italy, mainly. So because apparently Italy is a massive Lupin the Third nerds. Like they fucking love that shit over there. So they actually co-funded most of the recent Lupin the Third stuff because they just love the show so much.
Damn.
Shout out to Italy.
Shout out to Italy for just fucking loving Lupin the Third.
It's like how like Mexico and Puerto Rico are like massive Dragon Ball nerds. It's like it's just wholesome.
It's like that moment when like you go like when you saw those like when they was like Mexico Square like live streamed like the Ultra Instinct episode of Dragon Ball, and you just see
it's just a huge crowd of people losing their shit.
Like of just like Mexican fans, like of all ages, this kids, like adults, they're just losing their fucking shit. But in any case, I don't have a pick for least favorite because this is too.
Nah, me neither. I can't. I can't in good conscience do it.
Yeah. So let's just talk about what's good about this show. I want to
talk everything.
I want to talk about the music for this show for a second because the music for this show is really, really good. It's kind of like
Lupin the Third.
Yeah, it's kind of all the music in the shows is kind of like weird, interesting, like funk and like psychedelic style rock music from like the late 60s that like characterized the late 60s, early 70s, and it has lyrics that are very clearly like were in Japanese and they just translated it into English without any regard for what they mean, and it's great. I love songs like that. Like I love Salt Lake, but they fit so well with the music, and also the openings for the show are really good. There's 3 separate openings for this show.
Here's the thing, though. Part 2 has the best opening.
Yeah, Part 2 is the best opening, but unfortunately, it's not in Part 1.
Which sucks, because
yeah, which sucks. But the openings for Part 1 still quite good. Very old school openings.
Very old school.
Very old school. But I have a soft spot. I do have a soft spot for old school openings like this. Very much so. So like this is definitely a show that this has definitely got an opening that's really good. We mentioned the animation was really good too. I want to take a moment and talk about how the character designs of the show are really good.
Yes.
And the fact that they're like a mix of like we don't normally see anime character like designs like this in anime that much.
Mm-hmm.
They're like a mix.
They're very, at least to me, very Western inspired.
Yeah, they're very Western.
Western European.
Yeah, because Arsène Lupin, like the original character that this is
French.
Yeah, he's French. Yeah, so
Jigen is obviously based off of like a Clint Eastwood archetype.
Yeah, he's Clint Eastwood. He's American. He looks American. Goemon's classic Japanese.
Classic like feudal era.
Mine could be from anywhere, and I think that's kind of the.
And then
she reminds me of Daphne from Scooby-Doo.
And then Zenigata is Japanese.
And obviously Zenigata is Japanese. But like it's international without like feeling international.
Yes.
Got a very like and I think it helps the fact that they never they mention a couple of times that it's in Japan, but you don't really need to like
say it. They're not constantly like Japan. Yeah, they're not constantly.
It could be anywhere for all we know. It could be in the U.S. It could be in Europe. It could be Asia. Yeah. Like that's the beauty of the series. That could be set pretty much anywhere.
And it'll always work.
It'll always work, and I think that's what makes these character designs pop out so much. Is the fact that they would work anywhere. Lupin's design in particular is great.
Lupin's design is spectacular.
Yeah, I love the sleek, slender limbs, the
well-dressed man,
business attire. Yeah,
the sideburns.
Yeah, he's a thief, but professionals have standards.
He's a gentleman thief.
Yeah, in the words of the sniper, professionals have standards. And he. Like he may be a thief and he may occasionally kill people.
He's got a big goofy grin.
He's got a big goofy grin and he is
massive chin.
Just like same with Jigen too. Jigen's always got a smile on his face.
Yeah, like ungodly jawline.
Jigen is always smiling. Like
Goemon never smiles. Goemon never smiles.
No, but like Jigen's also properly dressed like Lupin is.
Yeah, and I love that. Like this is just a cool show. Like this is like just with the stylish attire and all that stuff. I also want to bring up the fact that most people know Lupin the Third from like its more comedic tones later down the line, but the first couple of episodes of this are more like the manga, and it's not as comedic as you would expect it to be. It is very funny, but it's funny in a different kind of way. Like it's a lot darker and a lot grittier, and and I don't know which tone I like, but I do kind of appreciate the darker tones of the early episodes a lot. Because there's an attention to detail in the designs of the guns and the cars that are really noticeable. Yeah, like there's a lot of research put into this, and it all looks really good. There's a great attention to detail. Shane, anything you want to bring up that you particularly really liked about the series?
I'm gonna mention it in my my criticisms or nitpicks too, but I do really like how, because the spirit of the show, especially later on, does become more lighthearted, it can just do whatever the hell it wants. Like you can put these guys in any situation. Like you can like storm a castle or rob a jewelry store or go back in time, and like it all works to some degree. Sure, some ideas and concepts work better and are more interesting than others, but I love the versatility of Lupin, how you can basically do whatever you want with it, and it will still be entertaining to some degree. I really like that.
Like one of the episodes I really loved was when Lupin finds out, oh wait, someone's committing crimes in my own name. So he goes to an island of thieves, and they're all they're all people who who've stolen to survive, and Lupin
Lupin gets them all arrested,
and Lupin fucking arrests all of them, and it's
Sorry guys, I gotta look out for numero uno.
I also like the fact that Lupin cares about his family.
I do love that.
His grandpa's he saw his grandpa's stuff, and he's like, I have to get this back.
Yeah, he loves it, and and that's what makes Lupin a likable character, is that he's a thief, but he's got a heart of gold, and that's what makes him a likable character.
Also, can we talk about the fact that they used that same idea twice? Because the bridge bomber also was using Lupin's name.
Yeah, they use that. Yeah, there's a couple of stuff that's repeated, but I think that's the inevitability of just of a show like this. You're gonna have concepts that repeat themselves from episode to episode.
Yeah.
This will probably be more noticeable in part 2. But definitely there's a little bit of that here. But honestly, each episode of the show is unique enough that you can just kind of mention one and be like, oh, it's that one. Any nitpicks and criticisms that any of you have? Because I have
a small nitpick. Mm-hmm. I know it's a much older show. The audio design.
Oh yeah, the
sound quality isn't the best.
Yes, the sound quality is not the very best.
Yeah, definitely a product of that's definitely a product of its time thing. Not much, and it is noticeable. It is very noticeable. Not much we can do about it now.
No, it's just, like I said, some very minor. Nitpick.
Yeah, it doesn't really affect my opinion on the show in any way.
No.
But it's definitely something worth bringing up, because if you're going to watch this show, do know that there is no dub for at least part 1. So you'll have to watch it in sub in Japanese.
Yeah. The sub is well done.
The actors are all fantastic. They're all brilliantly cast. But definitely you have to get used to a older audio quality. My only issue with the show is the massive tonal shift that's made from the first half to the second half.
Yep.
That's very noticeable. This is less of a fault of the show itself and more of its production. Because the original series was directed by Masaki Usumi, who was a huge fan of the original manga. And he wanted to keep the spirit of the gritty tone of the original series intact. So he made it. Unfortunately, he made it like that. Unfortunately, this was 1971, and at the time, anime was not seen as something for adults in Japan. It was still seen as a family entertainment thing.
Right.
And Japan just kind of wasn't. I don't think Japan was really ready for a show aimed strictly at adults, because there was because when the show came out, it was under a lot of fire for being too dark, too gritty, too sexual. And didn't do very well in ratings wise.
There is a nipple in the first episode.
Yeah, there's titties. Yeah,
and I will say part 2 and part 3, a woman called Fujiko Mine, there's a lot more.
Yeah, I know Woman Called Fujiko Mine is the only version of Lupin that got a TVMA rating, and apparently it earns it, because apparently it's super violent and sexual. So I will not. So I'm.
But it's also apparently one of the best.
Yeah, it's also the one most accurate to the original source material too. Which is probably why. And so but Masaki Usumi was fired because of that, because it's look, we have this show, it's supposed to air for 26 episodes, it's not doing very well right now, people aren't liking it, we're getting under fire, we need a replacement. So they hired 2 of the animators working on the show, which was Hayao Miyazaki and Isao Takahata, the founders of Studio fucking Ghibli, to direct the rest of the show. And Hayao Miyazaki has gone on record of saying that while he's a huge fan of the character of Lupin, he's not really a fan of the original manga. He thinks it's too cynical, too dark, and that it's not really his thing. So he changed up the cast, personalities, and made everything a little bit lighter, a little bit more wacky.
Which you can tell.
And ironically, would be the tone that most Lupin things take, outside of a couple of stuff like Woman Called Fujiko Mine. Most things would be like this more lighthearted tone. be more popular like that. The show still didn't do well though because the people just weren't interested at the time, so it was canceled after 23 episodes. But then it did very well in reruns, which is why part 2 came out and happened.
Part 2 was 150 episodes.
Yeah, 155, which that did very well. But because of that, there's a tonal shift, and you can clearly tell if you watch the show from beginning to end that you notice you notice a lot of tonal fuckery,
tonal dissonance.
It feels like a completely different show by the end. It feels like a completely different show by the end. Another equally great show, but a different one, and and I think that's gonna. And if you're a fan of the manga, that might turn you off a bit. I will know that if you read the manga before this, which I haven't, but I know some people who are huge fans of the manga who aren't really a fan of animated Lupin, and I completely get it because it's something completely different. It's basically a different show, but it is something to pay attention to. Shane, anything you want to bring up?
I have a couple. Very small little nitpicky things, but I do have a couple. I agree with you. The tonal shift is very abrupt, and it definitely does feel like two separate shows collided into one, which isn't a problem per se because I like both tones of the show, but it definitely is something to take note of. There are all episodes are good, but there are definitely some that are more interesting or engaging than others. There are some episodes that in hindsight I don't even remember because they just weren't that interesting, which is kind of a problem with a show like this, but
I think it's unavoidable though. I think it's unavoidable.
Yeah, it's unavoidable.
Yeah.
I feel like that, like, for me, if a show is episodic or like has even if it has an overarching story, but it's more focused on episodic, like Bebop's the same way. Bebop is kind of it has an overarching story, but it's more episodic.
Well, Lupin is
there's going to be episodes that are lesser than others because of just that's by the design.
Lupin is a monster of the week, kinda.
It is a problem of the week where like Lupin and the crew are put into a situation and now they need to get themselves out of the said situation. And some situations are not as interesting as others, and that's completely okay because sometimes it just be like that.
Yeah.
Because for whatever reason, maybe the writer or the plot for that week just wasn't interesting. And I feel like that's why I don't really put that into like affecting my score, because I do expect some episodes to not resonate with me as much as others, and that's completely understandable. And
it's not going to be every episode. It's not going to be perfect.
Yeah, especially if it's like an anthology series like this is. Anything else, Shane? Or
the last one, which I brought up in my positives because I actually really like it, but in hindsight, it's like, okay, the show can So the show just does whatever it wants, right? Whether or not it makes any sense. So like it can be the most grounded, realistic show at points that covers like real world issues and things that could happen in real life. And then you have things like there's a time traveler, or we took these special flowers and experimented on my secretary and now she's a witch. Like
or the magician guy, which even then they try to give an explanation and it still makes zero sense.
But then there are the other ones like the time machine or the witch, where it's like we can just do this now. Like, where is the line being drawn? What is possible? What isn't?
Yeah,
compared to the other ones, like the bomber incident, which seems like it could be a plausible situation.
Yeah, but the bomber situation, this kind of thing does reverberate throughout the entire series, because you have like movies that are more grounded, and then you have like there's apparently a special episode of Lupin that came out like in the early 2000s where two versions of Lupin clone each other, and now there's like millions of Lupin.
It's like it's not necessarily an issue, because I personally don't mind that, because I think it leads to some really interesting scenarios. But at the same time, what is fucking possible in this universe? Apparently anything.
Apparently anything. I still love like and even then some of the more grounded reality stuff can get ridiculous at times. Like that one where he like hires like 1,000,000 actors to be Lupin, and so both
and then all of a sudden they turn into Zenigata.
And
then all of a sudden,
the Lupins disguised as Zenigata, the people disguised as Zenigatas, disguised as Lupins. which they have Mission Impossible masks. Like they 100% got Mission Impossible masks. Because like when Lupin's disguised as someone, he literally turns into said person. Like which, to be fair, is hilarious.
Yes.
And I love it every time it happens. But at the same time, they like the show does like have like it like teeters the line between being super realistic and just being not
dumb
and being dumb. I actually kind of prefer when it just goes full dumb, to be honest.
Yeah,
because
I wish it was more consistent with like the out there dumb shit, because then it's like, okay, so this shit can just happen on a whim. Like, don't focus more on like the grounded reality portions. Just go nuts.
Because I feel those stories are also the more creative ones. Like the Time Machine one is my favorite because it's just such a creative idea, and it's
so out there and stupid, but it's so fun and like wacky as a result.
Yeah, and like that's why I love, and like I made fun of like the millions of Lupins, like fucking it's like the actors disguised as Zenigata, disguised as Lupin. But that's funny. Like I love that's like just a great idea, especially since it's like fucks with them, and it's like so more of that. If part 2 has more of that, I'm so down, because that's exactly what I want to see.
I want future parts to just go all out with it, and seeing as how part 5 is like semi-futuristic, I think they will. Which
part 5, I know they will. I know I've heard out of the main parts. I've heard a lot of people say part 5 is the best one.
Yeah, I can't wait. I cannot wait. Though.
Part 5 is the best one. I know that part 2. Part 2 is mostly just a wacky bullshit, which I'm
down. Please, thank you. I want more.
There's an so I'm excited. I'm excited for it. In any case, I think we're good for final scores.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Shane. It's hard, right?
It's hard. Because like, show is phenomenal. It's so well directed. The characters are some of the most likable in anime for me. My dog Barky. Someone else go first.
Okay, I'll have Josh go first. What are you gonna give it, Josh?
Okay, so this was a very tough one. Like Shane was saying, all the characters are likable. Almost all the episodes are just spectacular. A few that were just a little less pleasing than others. Still all great though. However, I won't give it a perfect score of 10. I'm going to give it a very high rated 9.
All right, good.
I pretty much agree with Josh. Like, as good as the show can be, there are those few little issues that I mentioned that, while they aren't issues per se, they do go against the show in some regards. So I can't give it a perfect score as much as I would like to, but I'm going to give it as high a 9 as I possibly can.
Yeah, this is the highest 9 for me as well. If you would ask me before the second half, I would have said 10. But instead, I'm going to give it a 9 because I do agree with Shane that I wish they stuck to the wackier stuff more.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, like, I just love this show, and I fully expect multiple iterations of Lupin in the future to get 10s from me.
Yes.
Probably if they keep up with the more like out there wacky stuff, I absolutely think so.
I absolutely expect Castle of Cagliostro to just whip all kinds of shit.
I am definitely looking forward to watching more. This is probably going to be the only one of the 4 of this month that I will continue to watch.
Yeah, definitely. Well, definitely, this is one that I'm definitely gonna check out part 2. I think next after this, I'm gonna check out part 2 because I'm pretty sure all of part 2 is on Crunchyroll.
Yes.
As well.
Mm-hmm.
Can also say how hyped I am for Lupin the Third, the first.
Oh, it looks so good. After watching this show, I kind of just want to watch that because that looks so good. And
dude, the CG animation looks so damn good.
It looks like fucking like Pixar Disney level quality, and I love that. It looks fantastic.
I cannot wait.
But yeah, next week we have Spencer's choice. Spencer's not here. He was not able to make it. He's currently at work, so he was unable to make it for Lupin. But he will be here with his pick, and we're going to be covering the 1986 mecha anime Go Shogun, which is best known specifically for kickstarting the career of future Pokemon show for the future Pokemon showrunner. So that's it is kind of a big deal of a show. But we'll definitely be there to cover that. I'm your host, Matt, aka Legion Rex. You can find me on Twitter at Legion Rex, also on YouTube at Legion Rex, and with me I have my co-host Shane, aka the Bearded One. You can find him on Twitter at Bearded Gaming Network, and you can also find him on YouTube at Bearded Gaming Network, where he'll post Let's Plays, gameplay videos, unboxings, podcasts, and a bunch of other stuff. He also streams on Twitch every Tuesdays and Thursday from noon to 2 p.m. and he play whatever the hell he wants. Likely, I will not be shocked if he plays Crash on his next stream.
Oh yeah, I already said last stream, this week is all Crash, so...
Alright, so if you want to see him play Crash 4, it's about time. Get it? Because it's about time. You could... You can go check him out. With me, I also have my co-host Josh.
Hello.
You can find him on Twitter at Reborn Weeb, where he doesn't post, but he will be commenting on everyone else's posts.
I just want to say before we wrap up, thank you, Josh, for picking Lupin the Third, because this was a treat.
Very welcome.
Thank you. I loved this.
Can we just talk about that? My picks for every single one has been...
Literally, you've had one of the best picks for every single one of these, which is great. Like you had for Month of Spoop, you had easily the best one with another. And
I had ReZero.
And you had ReZero. Like you've done excellent work so far for the podcast now.
Almost like I have good taste in anime.
I'm also excited, and I'm damn excited for watching more Lupin the Third.
Me too.
And there's a Detective Conan crossover too, so maybe it'll get me to watch Detective Conan as well, which is another one I've been wanting to watch for years and years.
Yes.
But in any case, that was Lupin the Third, and we'll see you all next time for Go Shogun.
Next week, because we're still doing this weekly for this month. Yeah,
it'll be next week. So see us next. So see you next week for Go Shogun.
Goodbye, everybody.
The world is a plague.
There we go. There it is.
There it is, yeah.
All right, bye.
Hey, see you, everyone.
Thank you for listening to The G.A.P. If you like what you've seen, you can subscribe to the G.A.P Podcast YouTube channel to get the latest podcasts as they go live. Be sure to like and comment and let us know what you guys think of the show. Thank you very much for tuning in, and we'll see you next week.